I was halfway down the grand staircase of my own mansion when I heard my mother say, "Don't worry, we'll deceive her, and she'll give us this mansion." My hand froze on the railing. The house was quiet, except for the rain tapping against the tall windows and the soft hum of the chandelier above the foyer. I had come downstairs to get my phone from the library. That was all. Just one small thing. I was not supposed to hear anything. But life has a strange way of stopping you in the exact place where truth can finally reach your ears. My parents were in the sitting room below, speaking in low voices with my younger sister, Brianna. The door was not fully closed. A thin line of warm light spilled across the hallway rug. My mother, Patricia, sounded calm. Too calm. The way she sounded when she had already decided something belonged to her. Brianna's voice came next, shaky and impatient. "Mom, she keeps saying she needs time. What if she refuses?" My father answered this time. "She won't. Ava has always wanted our approval. We just have to make her feel guilty enough." A cold feeling moved through my chest. Ava. That was me. Ava Monroe. 37 years old. Owner of the house they were discussing like stolen furniture. The mansion had 6 bedrooms, a library, a sunroom, a wide garden, a small guest house, and a long driveway lined with old oak trees. It sat on 3 acres outside the city, behind a black iron gate and a stone wall covered with climbing roses. I bought it 2 years earlier after selling my interior design company. Not inherited, not gifted, not given by a man. Bought, paid for, in my name, with money I earned after 15 years of building a business from a laptop, a folding table, and the stubborn belief that the girl my family ignored could still create something beautiful. And now my parents were downstairs, planning how to take it. My sister sniffed. "But she loves this place. She'll say it's her home." My mother laughed softly. That laugh hurt more than shouting would have. "Everything Ava owns is because of this family. We raised her. We sacrificed. She is single, no husband, no children. What does she need a mansion for?" My father said, "Exactly. Brianna has 3 children. Her apartment is too small. This house should be for family." Brianna whispered, "But she won't just sign it over." "She doesn't have to at first," my mother said. "We tell her your situation is urgent. We tell her the children are suffering. We ask to stay in the guest house first. Then we move into the main house. Then we say the children need stability. Once everyone is settled, she won't have the heart to remove us." My father added, "And if she resists, we remind her how much we did for her." My fingers tightened around the railing. What they did for me. That was their favorite story. A story they polished until it shone brighter than truth. They had raised me, yes. Fed me, yes. Sent me to school, yes. But they had also made me the invisible child, the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who could wait, the one who could understand, the one who did not need birthday parties because Brianna was more sensitive, the one who gave up her room when relatives came because she was more mature, the one who paid family bills after she started working because she was blessed, the one who bought mother a car, paid father's medical bills, cleared Brianna's debts twice, funded school fees for Brianna's children, and still heard, "You never do enough for your family." Now they were planning to take the only home I had ever chosen for myself. Brianna asked, "What if she asks about the mortgage and papers?" My father snorted. "She is emotional. We don't discuss papers. We discuss blood." My mother said, "Blood is stronger than paper." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because I had spent my whole life learning that blood was often the hand that reached into your pocket first. Then Brianna said the sentence that broke the last soft place inside me. She always wanted to be loved by us anyway. Silence followed. Not from shame, from agreement. My mother sighed. "She is useful because of that." Useful. Not loved. Useful. The word traveled up the staircase, entered my chest, and sat there like a stone. For years, I had thought my family did not understand how much they hurt me. I thought they were careless, needy, unaware. I thought if I explained better, gave more carefully, loved more honestly. They would one day see me. But they did see me. That was the shock. They saw me clearly. They saw my longing, my loneliness, my desire for family warmth, my habit of giving too much, and they had decided to use it. I stepped back quietly. One step, then another. The old wooden floor creaked. The voices downstairs stopped. My heart slammed against my ribs. "Ava?" my mother called. I froze. Then I took a slow breath and walked down the remaining steps. The sitting room door opened. My mother stood there in her cream silk blouse, her hair perfectly pinned, her face already arranging itself into concern. "There you are," she said. "We were just talking about you." "Yes," I said. My voice sounded strange, too calm. My father stood behind her near the fireplace. Brianna sat on the sofa, one hand over her mouth, eyes wide, not with guilt, but fear of being caught. I looked at all three of them. "How long have you been planning to deceive me?" The room went still. My mother blinked. "What?" "You said, 'Don't worry, we'll deceive her, and she'll give us this mansion.'" "I heard you." Brianna began crying immediately. "Of course." My father's face hardened. "Ava, you misunderstood." I walked into the sitting room. The fire was burning softly. Teacups sat on the glass table. My mother had used my best porcelain set, the one she once said was too expensive for a woman who lived alone. "I misunderstood the word deceive?" I asked. My father straightened. "We were speaking out of worry. Worry sounds different from strategy." My mother stepped forward. "Lower your voice." I looked around the room I designed myself. Deep green walls, gold lamps, cream furniture, paintings from young artists I supported, shelves filled with books, a home, not a prize, not a spare resource, not an empty space waiting for whoever cried loudest. "My voice is fine," I said. Brianna stood, tears sliding down her face. "Ava, please, you don't know what I'm going through." I looked at my sister. Brianna had always been beautiful in an easy way, soft eyes, perfect skin, the kind of woman strangers wanted to help before she even asked. She was 32 now, divorced, with 3 children and a history of turning every crisis into proof that someone else had failed her. "I know you are behind on rent again," I said. "I know the children's school called me last month because you gave them my number for unpaid fees. I know you told Mom I refused to help, even though I paid 2 terms directly to the school. I know you borrowed money from Aunt Linda and told her I would repay it." Her mouth opened, closed. My mother gasped. "Ava." "No, Mom. Let her answer." Brianna wiped her tears. "You make everything sound so ugly." "It is ugly. I have children, and I have boundaries." My father slammed his palm lightly on the mantel. "That is enough." I turned to him. "No, Dad. Enough was years ago. Enough was when you asked me to pay Brianna's wedding balance because she had already invited people. Enough was when you told me to buy Mom a car because a successful daughter should honor her mother. Enough was when you borrowed $80,000 for your import business and never repaid $1. Enough was when you all came into my home tonight pretending to celebrate my new charity launch while planning how to take the roof over my head." My mother's face twisted. "Take? How can family take from family? By calling theft sacrifice." Brianna sobbed. "I knew you would act like this." I looked at her. "No, Brianna. You hoped I would not hear enough to act like this." My father pointed toward the sofa. "Sit down. We need to talk like a family." I almost obeyed. That is what frightened me. Even after everything I had heard, a part of me still reacted to his command like a child. "Sit down. Be respectful. Listen. Understand. Give." But the woman standing in that room had bought the floors under his shoes, so I remained standing. "No." His eyebrows lifted. "No? I will not sit down for a family meeting about how you plan to manipulate me." My mother's voice softened suddenly. That was always her second weapon. First guilt, then softness. "Ava, baby, you have been lonely in this big house. Maybe God allowed us to think about this because the house needs life. Children, laughter, family. I stared at her. She had taken the knife and wrapped it in velvet. You were going to use my loneliness against me. Her eyes flickered. Only for a second. Enough. I am your mother, she said. Yes, I replied. That is what makes this worse. My father stepped forward. Watch your tone. I turned to him fully. No, you watch your plan collapse, Brianna whispered. What are you saying? I walked to the writing desk near the window and opened the top drawer. Inside was a folder I had not expected to need tonight, but I had prepared it months ago. Not because I knew this exact moment would come, because something in me had finally learned that love without records becomes easy to rewrite. I placed the folder on the table. My mother stared at it. What is that? The truth you didn't expect me to keep. I opened it. Bank transfers, loan records, screenshots, receipts, school payments, medical bills, car purchase documents, business investment transfers, text messages, years of help, years of proof, years of being used and then called selfish. I took out the first page. In the last 12 years, I have given this family $487,000. Brianna stopped crying. My father's hand lowered. My mother looked at the papers like they were snakes. I continued. That includes the car you drive, Mom, the business money you lost, Dad, Brianna's wedding, divorce lawyer, school fees for the children, rent arrears, hospital bills, personal loans, and the so-called emergency funds that became vacations, clothes, parties, and debts I was never supposed to mention. My mother whispered, You kept records against us? I looked at her. No, I kept records for me, because I knew one day you would stand in my house and tell me family means I owe you more. My father's face turned red. You think money makes you better than us? No, I think honesty makes this conversation uncomfortable for you. Brianna stepped toward the table. Ava, please, I'm desperate. I softened for 1 second. Not enough to surrender, but enough to feel the pain of loving someone who would still take from you. I know you are, I said, but desperate people ask for help. They do not conspire to steal homes. I wasn't stealing. You were planning to move in, settle your children, and make me too guilty to remove you. She looked down. My mother quickly said, We only wanted what was best for the children. Then you should have planned better for the children. My mother gasped like I had cursed in church. How dare you? I dare because this is my house. Her eyes hardened. There it is. Your house. Your money. Your success. You have become proud. No, Mom. I have become awake. The rain grew heavier against the windows. The fire cracked once in the hearth. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then my father said coldly, If you send us away tonight, do not call us your family again. That sentence should have broken me. Years ago, it would have. That was why he used it. My greatest fear had always been exile. Not from a house, from them. From the idea of belonging. But the truth had already done something painful and necessary. It had shown me I had been outside the family for years, standing at the door with gifts in my hands, mistaking access for love. So I nodded. If the price of calling you family is giving you my mansion after hearing you plan to deceive me, then I cannot afford that family anymore. My mother covered her mouth. Brianna started crying again. My father looked stunned, then furious. I walked to the sitting room door and opened it. You need to leave. My mother whispered. Ava. No, the visit is over. Brianna grabbed her purse. You'll regret this. I looked at her. Maybe. But I will regret it in my own house. My father said, You are making the biggest mistake of your life. No, I said. I almost made it before I reached the bottom of the stairs. They left through the front door in angry silence, except for Brianna, who cried loudly enough for the hallway to hear. When the door closed, the mansion became quiet again. Too quiet. I stood in the foyer under the chandelier, listening to their car pull away down the wet driveway. Then my knees weakened. I sank onto the bottom step and pressed my hands over my face. I did not cry because I had lost them. I cried because I finally understood I had been fighting to earn people who had been studying how to use me. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight. And if you have ever overheard the truth about how people really see you, stay with me. Because sometimes, the most painful sentence you were never meant to hear becomes the sentence that finally sets you free. My life did not begin in a mansion. It began in a small yellow house, with cracked tiles, loud arguments, and a mother who could make love feel like a loan. I was the first child. My parents had me when they were young, and still believed hard work would turn them into the kind of people others respected. My father, George Monroe, worked in sales for a building materials company. My mother, Patricia, was a school secretary who dressed like the principal and spoke like the world owed her an apology for not being richer. When I was little, I thought my mother was beautiful. Not soft beautiful, sharp beautiful. Lipstick always perfect. Shoes always clean. Hair never out of place. She cared deeply about appearances because appearances had been the one thing she could control when money was tight. My father was charming outside the house and tired inside it. Neighbors loved him. Church members praised him. At home, he often sat with bills spread across the dining table, rubbing his forehead while my mother complained that he had no ambition. I learned early to be quiet during money arguments. Quiet children survive storms by becoming furniture. Then Brianna was born, 5 years after me. Tiny, pretty, fragile in the way that made adults speak softer around her. My mother said, "Ava, you are a big sister now. You must help." So I helped. I fetched bottles, folded diapers, watched Brianna while mother cooked, gave up toys when she cried, gave up attention when visitors arrived, gave up being a child in small pieces, so slowly that nobody noticed there was less of me each year. Brianna cried easily. I did not. That became a family rule. Brianna was sensitive. Ava was strong. Brianna needed comfort. Ava understood. Brianna made mistakes because she was young. Ava should know better. Even when I was young too. At school, I became excellent because excellence was the only place my family clapped for me without taking something away. I won art competitions, essay prizes, and design awards. I could look at a dull room and imagine where light should fall, where color should soften, where a chair should sit, so people felt welcome. My teacher said I had an eye. My mother said, "Good. Maybe one day you can decorate my dream house." Her dream, not mine. When I was 13, I asked for a birthday party. Nothing big, just cake, 2 friends, and balloons. My mother said money was tight. 2 weeks later, Brianna had a princess party with a hired decorator because she had been crying that other girls had parties. When I asked why, my mother said, "Ava, don't start. You're older. You understand." I went to my room and drew houses for 3 hours. Houses with doors nobody could open without permission. Houses where every child had a room. Houses where love did not depend on tears. That was where my real life started. On paper. I did not know it then. By 16, relatives were already saying I would be the successful one. It sounded like praise. But it came with expectation. My aunt once pinched my cheek and said, "Ava will carry this family." I smiled because everyone smiled. Inside, I wondered who would carry me. The answer was nobody. So I learned to carry myself. I studied interior architecture and business design in college, through scholarships, part-time jobs, and small freelance work. I designed dorm rooms, church offices, salon corners, cafes, and anyone's space if they could pay even a little. My parents bragged about me, but their pride always had an invoice. When I got my first internship stipend, my mother asked for half. "Your father is behind on car payments," she said. I gave it. When I got my first full-time design assistant job, my father said Brianna needed a laptop. I bought it. When I received a bonus, my mother said the family needed a proper sofa because visitors were judging us. I paid. Every time I gave, I felt useful. Every time I hesitated, they acted wounded. So I learned to give quickly. Giving fast reduces the time people have to make you feel guilty. Brianna grew into a girl who believed rescue was a natural part of love. She was not evil. That is important. She was sweet sometimes, funny, warm when life favored her. But she had been trained to expect softness from the world and sacrifice from me. When she failed her college entrance exams the first time, my parents blamed stress. When she failed again, they blamed poor tutoring. I paid for new tutoring. When she dropped out of her fashion program, they said she needed time to find herself. When I took 6 months off between jobs to build my own design firm, they said I was being risky and selfish because people depend on you. People, meaning them. My company began in a rented corner of a shared office. One desk, one laptop, one second-hand printer, a borrowed camera. I named it Monroe Living Design. At first, I worked small jobs, apartments, rental homes, small offices. Then a restaurant redesign got attention online. Then a boutique hotel lobby. Then a luxury condo developer hired me to design model units. I worked harder than anyone knew. 16-hour days. Client calls at midnight. Contractor mistakes. Supply delays. Invoices unpaid for months. I carried fabric samples on buses. I changed outfits in public bathrooms before client meetings. I cried in parking lots, wiped my face, and went back inside smiling. My family saw the photos. They saw the finished spaces. They did not see the exhaustion behind them. To them, success looked sudden. That made it easier to ask for pieces. As Monroe Living grew, my mother began speaking differently. Our Ava is doing well. Our daughter is a designer. Our family has taste. Our. That word appeared whenever something I owned became impressive. When things were hard, it was mine. My risk, my stress, my debt, my problem. When things became beautiful, it became ours. Brianna married early. A man named Caleb. He was handsome, lazy, and skilled at sounding misunderstood. My parents did not like him at first, but Brianna cried, said nobody trusted her choices, and threatened to move away. So they agreed. The wedding became the first big test of my adult boundaries. They wanted a grand hall, designer dress, photographer, 3 outfit changes, a live band. I said it was too much. My mother said, "Ava, your sister only marries once." She did not. But we did not know that yet. My father said, "People will ask what kind of family we are if the wedding looks small." Brianna cried. I paid the balance. Not all, but enough. Enough to hurt. Enough to delay hiring my first assistant. Enough to make me work double for months. At the wedding, my father gave a speech and said, "As parents, we have done our best for our daughters." Everyone clapped. I sat at the head table, tired and invisible. Brianna hugged me later and whispered, "You're the best sister." That felt good. Too good. That was the trap. Being appreciated after being drained can feel like love when you are starving. Brianna's marriage produced 3 children and endless emergencies. Caleb lost jobs, started businesses, borrowed money, disappeared emotionally, returned with apologies, left bills behind. My sister became overwhelmed, but she also became skilled at turning her overwhelm into my obligation. Ava, it's for the children. That phrase became a key to my account. School fees, rent, medical bills, birthday parties, groceries, uniforms, therapy after the divorce, lawyer fees, a new apartment deposit. I helped, again and again, sometimes gladly. Children should not suffer because adults are foolish. But after a while, I realized nobody was making better choices because my help kept softening the landing. Brianna did not budget because Ava would help. My parents did not plan because Ava was blessed. Caleb did not contribute consistently because someone else always filled the gap. I became the family's emergency exit. Then my company grew beyond anything I expected. A national magazine featured one of our hotel projects. A celebrity posted a photo from a home we designed. Developers began calling. We expanded into furniture lines, staging, hospitality design, and then full lifestyle branding. By 35, I had 90 employees. By 36, a global design firm offered to buy Monroe Living. The number was so large I stared at the email for a full minute before breathing. I negotiated for months, quietly, with lawyers, accountants, advisors, people who did not ask me for school fees. When the sale closed, I became wealthy in a way that made me feel both grateful and afraid. Because money does not only reveal who you are, it reveals who people believe they are entitled to become around you. I did not tell my family the full amount. I told them the company had sold and I was comfortable. My mother shouted praise in church the following Sunday. My daughter has sold her company. People clapped. Then the calls began. A cousin needed capital. An uncle had land trouble. My father wanted to revive his import business. My mother wanted a better car. Brianna wanted to move into a bigger apartment because the children needed a fresh start. I helped some, refused others. Badly at first. I said sorry too much. Explained too much. Made smaller offers when I wanted to say no. Then came the mansion. I found it while helping a friend look at properties. The house had belonged to an old professor and his wife. It was elegant but tired. The garden was overgrown. The library smelled of dust and cedar. The sunroom had cracked tiles. The kitchen needed work. But when I stepped into the foyer and saw the staircase curving upward beneath the chandelier, I felt the 13-year-old girl inside me stop drawing. This was it. A house with doors. A house with light. A house with room for silence. Not loneliness. Silence. There is a difference. Loneliness is empty. Silence is space. I bought it. I restored it slowly, respectfully. Not to show off, to heal. The library became my favorite room. The garden became a place where I could wake early and drink tea without anyone needing anything. The guest house became a small studio for mentoring young designers from poor backgrounds. I named the property Rosefield House because of the climbing roses along the wall. My mother hated the name. "Why not Monroe House?" she asked. "Because it is called Rosefield. But family name matters." "It does." "Then use it." "No." She looked offended. I ignored it. That was one of my first small victories. When my family first visited after the renovation, they reacted exactly as expected. My mother cried. My father walked through the rooms saying, "God has remembered us." Brianna took photos everywhere. The children ran through the garden laughing. For one afternoon, I felt happy. I thought maybe the house could hold family without swallowing me. Then my mother began making comments. "This room would be perfect for your father and me when we are older. The children love the garden. Brianna looks peaceful here. A house like this should not be so quiet." At first, I brushed it off. Then Brianna's divorce became final. Then her rent increased. Then Caleb stopped paying child support. Then my mother started saying, "Ava, maybe God gave you this house for a bigger purpose." I knew what that meant. Other people's purpose. My property. I told them I would help Brianna find a more affordable place and pay school fees directly for 6 months. They thanked me with long faces. That was how I knew they wanted more. The evening I overheard them, they had come for dinner after my foundation launch. I had just announced a program funding design education for young women from low-income families. My family had smiled in photos, praised me publicly, and told guests how proud they were. I should have noticed how closely my mother watched the house tours, how Brianna lingered in the children's guest room, how my father asked the staff about security and maintenance costs. But love makes you slow to suspect people you wish were safe. After they left that night, I did not sleep. I sat in the library until dawn with the folder on my lap and the rain still falling outside. At 5 in the morning, I called my lawyer. Her name was Helena Brooks. Sharp mind. Soft voice. No patience for emotional fog. She answered on the third ring because successful lawyers and mothers of teenagers sleep lightly. "Ava," she said, "is everything okay?" No. I told her everything. The overheard conversation, the plan, the demand that had not yet become a demand, the family history, the money, the mansion. Helena listened quietly. When I finished, she said, "First, I am sorry." That kindness almost made me cry. Then her voice became professional. "Second, nobody moves in. Not for one night, not in the guest house, not in the main house, not while this is fresh. I know. Do they have keys?" "My mother has a guest key. Change the locks today." That feels dramatic. "Ava, they have already discussed deception as a strategy. Drama began downstairs before you reached the staircase." I closed my eyes. She was right. "Third," Helena said, "we tighten estate planning, property protections, staff instructions, and access permissions. If you want to help your sister, we structure help in ways that do not create occupancy rights or emotional leverage." Occupancy rights. Such a cold phrase for such a warm wound. But cold phrases can save warm homes. By noon, the locks were changed. The security code updated. Staff informed that no family member could access the house without direct permission from me. The guest key disabled. Helena arranged updates to my trust documents so the property could not be transferred casually, pressured away, or used as collateral without multiple legal safeguards. I felt ridiculous and relieved. That evening, my mother called. I let it ring. She called again. Then Brianna. Then my father. Finally, a message came from my mother. "Ava, we need to talk. Last night ended badly." Family should not sleep with misunderstanding between them. Misunderstanding. The soft blanket people throw over exposed cruelty. I replied. There was no misunderstanding. I heard clearly. She did not respond for 10 minutes. Then, "You are taking emotional words too seriously. We were worried about Brianna and the children." I typed. "Worry does not require deception." This time, she called immediately. I answered. Her voice was tight. "Ava, this is becoming unnecessary." "No, Mom, it became necessary when you planned to manipulate me out of my home. That is not fair." "It is accurate." She exhaled sharply. "You have changed." "Yes." "Money has made you suspicious." "No." Listening at the staircase made me informed. Silence. Then coldly. "So what now? You cut off your family?" "No. I cut off access to my house. This house is too big for one woman. And yet one woman paid for it." She gasped. "There it is, your pride." "No, Mom, my boundary." She shifted tactics. "What about the children?" "I will continue paying their school directly for 6 months as I offered. I will help Brianna meet with a financial counselor and housing advisor. I will not provide housing at Rosefield." "That is cruel." "What part?" "Your sister is struggling. And living in my mansion will not teach her how not to struggle again." My mother's voice sharpened. "You always judge her." "No, I keep rescuing her. That is why she is still drowning near the shore." She hung up. I stared at the phone. My hands shook. Then I laughed once. Not from joy, from shock at how peaceful the room felt without her voice in it. The next weeks were ugly. Families do not lose access to a resource quietly. They fight first. My mother recruited relatives. Aunt Carol called me heartless. Uncle James said rich people forget where they come from. A cousin who had once asked me for money to start a car wash sent a message about humility. My father said I had dishonored him. Brianna posted online, "Some people live in empty mansions while children suffer. God sees everything." That one hurt. Not because it was true, because it was public enough for people to wonder. I almost responded. Helena told me not to. "People who bait you online want emotion because they have no evidence," she said. So I stayed quiet publicly. Privately, I acted. I sent Brianna a formal email. Not cold, clear. I offered 3 things. 6 months of school fees paid directly to the school. 3 months of rent support paid directly to a new landlord after she chose an affordable apartment and showed a budget. Financial counseling and legal support for child support enforcement against Caleb. No cash, no mansion, no guest house, no temporary stay. She responded with one line: "Keep your charity." So I did. That was harder than it sounds. When you are used to chasing people with help, letting them reject healthy support feels like abandoning them. But it is not abandonment to refuse to participate in your own manipulation. A month later, Brianna called me crying. Not soft tears, panicked ones. Her landlord had given notice. The children were scared. Caleb was still useless. My mother was pressuring my father to move Brianna into their small townhouse, but there was no space. "Ava," she sobbed, "please, just the guest house, just for a little while." I closed my eyes. I saw the guest house, white walls, wooden desk, young designers working there twice a week. A safe, creative space. Then I saw my mother's plan. Move into the guest house. Then the main house. Then stability. Then guilt. I said no. Brianna's crying stopped in surprise. "I'm your sister." "Yes." "My children are your blood." "Yes? And you still say no?" "Yes?" Her voice became bitter. "You are wicked." "No, I am clear. You'll let us be homeless?" I offered rent support for an affordable place. "I don't want your controlled money." "Then you want control more than shelter." She hung up. I cried after that call. Not because I doubted my answer, because right answers can still hurt. 3 days later, my father came to the gate. Alone. Security called from the gatehouse. "Ms. Monroe, your father is here. He says he needs to see you." I almost said no. Then I remembered something. My father had not been the loudest voice growing up. He had been weak in a quieter way. A man who avoided conflict until avoidance became betrayal. I told security to let him into the garden, not the house. That distinction mattered. He walked up the stone path looking older than he had weeks earlier. His shirt was wrinkled. His eyes were tired. He stopped near the fountain and looked toward the mansion. "I raised you," he said. "No hello. No apology. I stood on the path. Yes. I carried you as a baby. Yes. I worked hard so you could study. Yes. And now I stand outside your house like a stranger." I looked at him. "You came to my house after planning to deceive me." He flinched. "We used the wrong words." "No. You used the right words in the wrong place, where I could hear them." His face tightened. "You think you know everything. I know enough." He looked toward the guest house. "Brianna is drowning. She has rejected structured help. She is proud." I laughed softly. "That is what you call it when she refuses help with rules. When I refuse exploitation, you call it pride." He looked away. For a moment, only the fountain spoke. Then he said quietly, "Your mother pushed the idea." There it was. The beginning of cowardice pretending to be confession. I shook my head. "No, Dad. Mom spoke. You agreed. Brianna accepted. You all planned." He closed his eyes. "I don't want my grandchildren suffering. Neither do I." "Then help." I did. "More. That word is the hole in this family." He frowned. "What?" "More. No matter what I give, the answer is more." His shoulders dropped. I stepped closer. "I gave Brianna wedding money. More. Rent money. More. School fees. More. Legal fees. More. I gave you business money. More. Medical bills. More. I bought Mom a car. More. I bought my home, and now you want the home too." He did not answer. "You do not want help, Dad. You want access." His eyes filled. That surprised me. "I failed you," he whispered. The words were so quiet I almost missed them. My anger paused. Not disappeared. Paused. He looked at the ground. "I failed you when you were small. I let your mother lean on you. I let Brianna take. I told myself you were strong because it was easier than admitting we were unfair. My throat tightened. Then why did you plan with them? Because I am still weak. That answer hurt because it was true. He wiped his face quickly, embarrassed. I am sorry, Ava. I waited. He looked up. For making your love feel like a family account. For agreeing to that plan. For thinking your house could solve what we refused to fix. For not protecting you from us. Specific. At last. I felt tears rise. I hear you, I said. He nodded slowly. Your mother will not apologize. I know. Brianna is angry. I know. She may lose the apartment. She has options. He nodded again, though it seemed to cost him. I will talk to her. No, I said gently. You will not talk her into accepting my help while blaming me. You will tell her the truth, that she needs a plan. He looked toward the house again. You really won't let them stay here? No. Not even the guest house? No. He exhaled. Good. I stared at him. He gave a sad smile. If you said yes after what we did, I would know we broke you completely. That sentence followed me for years. My father left without entering the mansion. It was the first respectful thing he did after everything. My mother did not forgive him for coming. I learned later they fought badly that night. She accused him of taking my side. He told her there was finally a side worth taking. Their marriage, which had survived years of quiet imbalance, began cracking under the weight of truth. Not divorce, not dramatic collapse, just silence, where old agreements used to live. My mother had built her power by controlling guilt. My father had allowed it. Brianna had benefited from it. I had funded it. When I stopped, the whole family structure shook. Brianna eventually accepted the rent support. Not gracefully, not gratefully, but practically. Helena handled it through a written agreement. Payments went directly to the landlord, school fees directly to the school, financial counseling paid directly to the counselor, child support enforcement through proper legal channels. Brianna hated every structure at first. This feels like charity, she said. It is support, I replied. You don't trust me. No. She stared. I did not soften it. Trust is not a family discount. It is built by behavior. The children moved into a smaller but safe apartment. 2 bedrooms, clean, near their school. No garden, no mansion, no guest house, but stable. My oldest niece, Lily, called me after the move. She was 11. Aunt Ava? Yes, sweetheart. Mom says we can't visit your big house anymore because you're mad. I closed my eyes. There it was. The poison entering another generation. I am not mad at you, I said. Are you mad at Mom? I am upset about some grown-up choices. Did we do something? No, never. You and your brothers did nothing wrong. She was quiet. Then, softly, I liked the rose garden. My heart ached. You can visit the rose garden again, sweetheart, but visits have to be planned properly. Okay? I love you. I love you too. After that call, I made a decision. The children would not become weapons. I invited them once a month for supervised garden days. Brianna could bring them and stay in the garden or library, but not overnight. No luggage, no, just this weekend. No emotional surprises. If she complained, the visit ended. The first garden day was tense. Brianna arrived with the children and my mother. I had invited Brianna and the children, not my mother. Security called me. Ms. Monroe, your mother is in the car. I walked to the gate myself. My mother stepped out wearing sunglasses and the expression of a woman ready to be offended. Ava, I came to see my grandchildren enjoy your house. You were not invited. Her mouth opened. Brianna looked nervous. The children watched from the car. My mother said, You will embarrass me in front of the children? No, you embarrassed yourself by coming uninvited. Brianna whispered, Mom, please. My mother stared at her. Betrayal. Small but real. I looked at my mother. You can leave, or the children can leave with you. Those are the choices. Her lips trembled. You have become a stranger. No, I have become the homeowner. She got back in the car and demanded Brianna drive her home. Brianna hesitated. For the first time in my life, my sister did not obey our mother immediately. She looked at me, then at her children, then said, "Mom, I'll call you a ride." My mother's face changed like someone had turned off a light behind it. But Brianna got the children out. They ran into the garden. The day was beautiful, messy, loud, painful, healing. The children picked roses, fed koi fish in the pond, ate sandwiches on the lawn, and explored the library like it was a castle. Brianna sat beside me under the oak tree while they played. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "I hated you when you said no. I know. I still kind of hate you sometimes. I know." She gave a weak laugh. "At least you're honest." I looked at her. "Do you know why I said no?" She picked at the edge of her napkin. "Because you hurt us. That was the trigger, not the reason." She looked up. "The reason is that if I let you move in after hearing that plan, I would have taught you, Mom, Dad, and myself, that my home belongs to whoever can pressure me hardest." She looked toward the children. "I was scared. I know. I still am. I know." She swallowed. "Caleb made me feel stupid for needing help. Mom made me feel like I deserved your house because I had children. Dad said very little, like always, and I wanted to believe all of them because believing I deserved your house felt better than admitting I had messed up my life. That was the most honest thing she had ever said to me. I felt my anger loosen one notch. Not vanish. Loosen. "I do not want you or the children homeless," I said, "but I cannot become your plan." She nodded slowly. "I understand that now. Do you?" "I'm starting to." That was enough for that day. The family did not heal like magic. There were still fights, messages, silences, holidays with empty chairs, relatives choosing sides based on who owed them money. My mother refused to speak to me for 4 months. Those were peaceful months. Then she called on my birthday. I almost did not answer. Curiosity won. "Happy birthday," she said stiffly. "Thank you." Silence. Then, "Are you well?" "Yes." "Good." More silence. I waited. She said, "Your father says I owe you apology." I almost smiled. "That sounds like Dad's sentence, not yours." She inhaled sharply. "You always make things difficult." "No, Mom. I make vague things specific." She was quiet. Then she said, "I should not have used the word deceive." A tiny apology trying to crawl under a locked gate. I said, "That is not enough." She scoffed. "What do you want? Blood?" "No. Accountability." I was thinking of Brianna's children. "You were thinking of getting access to my house." Silence. Then, finally, softer. "Maybe both." That was the first true thing she said. I sat down. "Mom, why was it so easy to use my love against me?" Her breath caught. For once, she had no quick answer. "I don't know," she said. I closed my eyes. It was not enough. But it was not nothing. She continued, voice quieter. "When you were young, you did not need much. Brianna always needed. I got used to giving her attention and giving you responsibility. Then when you became successful, I told myself it was the reward for your strength. Like asking more from you was proof of what I always knew you could handle." I felt tears on my cheeks. I was not born to handle everyone. I know that now. "Do you?" "I am trying." Trying? A small word. Sometimes honest, sometimes useless. I did not know which it was yet. "I am sorry," she said. I waited. "For planning behind your back, for saying we would deceive you, for thinking your house was wasted because you lived there alone, for making you feel useful instead of loved." That last sentence broke something open. I cried silently. She did too, I think. But I did not invite her over. Not yet. Healing requires more than a correct sentence. It requires changed behavior over time. A year passed. Rosefield House became more than my home. I expanded the design mentoring studio into a full foundation program for young women who wanted careers in interior architecture, restoration, furniture making, and project management. We used the guest house as a training studio, the library for lectures, the sunroom for portfolio reviews, the garden for community events. Girls who reminded me of myself came through those doors, carrying sketchbooks, fear, and ambition they were afraid to name. I taught them what no one had taught me early enough. Own your work. Protect your contracts. Do not design beauty for others while living in spaces where you are disrespected. Do not let family guilt become a mortgage on your future. One student, Naomi, asked me after class, "How do you say no without feeling bad?" I smiled sadly. You don't always. Sometimes you say no and feel bad until your nervous system learns you are not in danger. She wrote that down. So did 3 others. I laughed. But I meant it. Boundaries often feel wrong to people trained to survive by pleasing. One afternoon, Brianna came early to pick up the children after a garden visit. She found me in the studio, with students' mood boards spread across the tables. She stood at the door for a long time. "This is what you use the guest house for?" she asked. "Yes." She walked in slowly. The walls were covered with sketches, fabric samples, project plans, and photos of completed student work. I thought it was just empty most of the time. "I know." She touched one board gently. "This is beautiful." One of the girls designed it for a women's shelter lobby. Brianna looked at me. "Mom said this house was too quiet." She was wrong. Brianna nodded. "It was full, just not with us." That sentence held growth. I smiled. Yes. She apologized again that day. Without drama. Without tears. Just words. "I'm sorry I tried to make my need bigger than your purpose." I hugged her. This time, it felt less like caution and more like hope. My father became a regular visitor, but only by invitation. He liked the garden. Sometimes he helped with small repairs. Not because I needed him to, but because he wanted to contribute something that did not take. One evening, while fixing a loose hinge on the greenhouse door, he said, "This house suits you." I smiled. "You used to think it should be for everyone." I was wrong? That simple? He tightened a screw. "No, not simple, but true." I handed him another screw. He looked at me. "Your mother wants to come for Sunday lunch." My body stiffened. He noticed. "No pressure." I looked toward the roses. "Is she asking, or are you asking for her?" "She asked me to ask." "That is not the same as asking." He nodded. I told her that. I smiled a little. Good. 2 days later, my mother called herself. "I would like to come for lunch," she said. "Why?" She sighed. "Must there be an interview?" "Yes." Long pause. "I want to see you. And the house. Not to claim it, to see you in it." That answer was better. Not perfect. Better. She came that Sunday with flowers. Not advice. Not luggage. Flowers. She stood in the foyer and looked up at the chandelier. For a moment, I saw the old hunger in her eyes. The hunger for status. For ownership through proximity. Then she looked at me. "This is your home," she said. I waited. She swallowed. "It is beautiful because you made it yours." I took the flowers. "Thank you." Lunch was awkward. Then easier. She did not mention moving in. She did not mention Brianna needing space. She did not rearrange anything. When she left, she paused at the door. "I am proud of you," she said. I felt the child inside me lean forward. Then the adult held her gently back. "Thank you," I said. That was all. Sometimes healing is accepting the words without handing over the keys. 3 years after the staircase night, Brianna bought her first small apartment. Not a mansion. Not large. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, modest kitchen, no garden. But hers. She did it through budgeting, child support enforcement, steady work with a clothing alterations business, and help structured in ways that built her instead of rescuing her. I helped with the down payment as a loan documented properly. She insisted on signing. That made me cry. At her small housewarming, she gave a speech. My mother cried before the speech began. Brianna stood in the living room holding a paper cup of juice and said, "I used to think family love meant someone stronger would always save me. I was wrong. Love is when someone helps you stand without letting you steal their legs." Everyone laughed softly. Then she turned to me. "Ava, thank you for saying no when I hated you for it." I could not speak. My niece Lily, now taller and wiser than any child should have to be, hugged me and whispered, "I'm glad you kept the Rose House." "Me too," I whispered. That night I returned to Rosefield alone. The mansion was quiet, but no longer lonely. I walked through the foyer, past the staircase where I had stopped years earlier, past the sitting room where the folder had opened, into the library where the rain had kept me company until dawn. I sat by the window and thought about the sentence that changed everything. "Don't worry, we'll deceive her, and she'll give us this mansion." They were wrong. Not only because I did not give them the mansion, because they misunderstood what the mansion was. It was not just a house. It was every birthday I did not get, every room I gave up, every invoice I paid, every night I worked while others slept, every drawing I made as a child when I needed somewhere safe to imagine. Every time I chose beauty in a life that tried to make me useful instead. Rosefield was not empty because I had no husband. It was not wasted because I had no children. It was not selfish because I lived there without filling every room with relatives. A woman's peace is not spare space. A woman's home is not a family solution waiting for a crisis. A woman's success is not proof that she can be harvested. For years, I thought being loved meant being chosen when people needed help. Now I know love is also shown when people respect what you cannot give. My parents told my sister they would deceive me and make me give them my mansion. My response shocked them. Not because I screamed. Not because I stopped loving them. Not because I became cruel. It shocked them because I finally understood that hearing the truth required me to act like I believed it. So I changed the locks, protected the property, structured the help, held the line, let people be angry, let people misunderstand, let relatives talk, let my mother sit with her own words, let my father face his weakness, let my sister grow without using my home as her shortcut, and let myself grieve the family I wished I had while dealing honestly with the family in front of me. That is not easy. Do not let anyone tell you boundaries feel good from the beginning. Sometimes they feel like grief. Sometimes they feel like betrayal. Sometimes they make your hands shake. Sometimes you will cry after saying the strongest no of your life. Say it anyway. If you are listening and you are the useful one, the successful one, the quiet giver, the one everyone calls when life falls apart, the one with the house, the savings, the car, the job, the emotional patience, the extra room, the strong back, the forgiving heart, hear me clearly. You are not a storage unit for other people's poor planning. You are not selfish because you want to live in the home you paid for. You are not wicked because your help has terms. You are not cruel because you refuse to be deceived. You are not less family because you no longer fund the fantasy that love means access to everything you own. Help if you choose, but help cleanly. Help with receipts. Help with limits. Help in ways that do not make you homeless inside your own life. And when people say, "But blood is stronger than paper," remember this. Paper protects what blood may try to take. A deed matters. A lease matters. A contract matters. A bank record matters. A will matters. A boundary matters. And your peace matters most of all. My mansion still stands behind the iron gate. The roses climb higher every year. The guest house is full of young women learning to design rooms they may one day own. My nieces and nephews visit on planned Sundays. Brianna brings food now, not luggage. My father fixes hinges and asks before entering rooms. My mother still looks around with longing sometimes, but she no longer calls it hers. And every time I walk down that staircase, I remember the night I stopped halfway and heard what I was never supposed to hear. It broke my heart. Then it saved my life. Because sometimes the truth hurts only once, but a lie can keep charging rent forever.